Seconds out, round one. Here we go. The rink is, I'd say, about 95% full. There's the odd few seat that's not sat in. There's still a couple of people coming through the door opposite us as we get going. But your starting netminders for this afternoon. Firstly, for the designated home team, who else but Rennie Marr? 49 starts on the season, a 31-12-6 record, 910 save percentage, 2.72 goals against average, 4 shutouts in that time. He was a perfect 5-0-0 in the playoffs, 2.56 goals against. At the other end for the designated visitors this afternoon, Hayden Levine. He made 50 starts on the year, 29-19-2, a 906 save percentage, 3.61 goals against average. But as we said, on a bit of a hot streak, 4-2 in the playoffs, 912 save percentage, 3.13 going into the playoffs.
Heck of a neck 90 battle we've got this afternoon, Joe. Rennie Marr, who I think has probably had one of his best seasons in the last couple of years for the Wildcats, has just really got himself into that mode of keeping the wheels turning. Tyler Perry's had a few more minutes this year than I was actually anticipating, but if nothing else, it's given Rennie a chance to rest, to kind of let him have the opportunity as well, to let Tyler get some important minutes as well, because if something happens, you need to make sure that your backup is ready to go. At the other end, Hayden Levine, as you said, the wheels have started turning and he's got into the best kind of form at the best kind of time. The potential on the bench, of course, of Luke Clark, a fantastic up-and-coming young netminder. Of course, in that firefight in Sheffield last weekend between the Phantoms 2 and the Tigers, is Luke Clark about to pick up another medal.
I will say this, he was incredible in the game on the Saturday against the Guildford Phoenix. Won them the game with, I think it was 9 saves in the shootout. Less said about Sunday and the gunfight, the better. Right, Wildcats in red, Phantoms in white. The Wildcats will be attacking the end goal to our left, the first period, and also the third. And also maybe even an extended overtime. We'll talk about that more if we get there. As one of the officials calls them in, once again, apologies if you don't know, there's just a number on the back. And we are underway with your Coventry Final Four weekend as the Phantoms win the opening puck draw. Thrown ahead, tipped into the corner by Lackenden. Wells will get there first. Lackenden to the front of the net, and there's a chance for Luke Ferrara. Couldn't get that under control. Shot comes in from just outside the hash marks from Robson. And almost a frightening start.
Well, something of a slightly unexpected start there from Peterborough, forcing Swindon immediately onto the back foot. An early chance there, but Rennie Marr being able to see the puck through the traffic. Some good rebound placement there as well. And you pondered a few moments ago about Swindon having been accused sometimes of sitting back a little bit too much to start. Not the most of the auspicious starts there for the Wildcats in the first shift.
Mitchell King. 2 cats for company. Puck collected by Billing as Bricknell pins the Phantoms forward to the boards. Long stretch pass tried to find Bricknell. That one's intercepted by Mitchell King. Phantoms through centre ice. Here they come. Salem off the bar and in! What a start for the Phantoms! 45 seconds in, and Nathan Salem goes bar down for his 4th of the playoffs.
What a start there from the Peterborough Phantoms. The Cats just unable to do much coming forward. Play broken up and neutralised. I think it was actually Salem's stick that did it. And he's walked in, shot from quite a distance out. And as he said, bar down. What a way to start. The Peterborough Phantoms have got their noses in front.
An absolute sniper's finish from Salem for goal number 1. We'll bring you confirmation of the assist once we get them.
But at least we know who scored.
Don't say that, I had this last week. Ferrara tips it on ahead again. Operation shock and awe to start in this first minute for the Phantoms. Malasinski out of the zone. Nihl drives to centre lane. Shot towards goal as wide of Levine's left-hand post.
He's tried an off-speeder there, I think, almost to kind of catch him unaware, but it's ended up coming off the end boards to no real effect.
Salem from Norton is the Phantoms' first goal of the afternoon. It's because he takes a tumble in the corner. Ferrara helps it out the zone. Wells will settle everything down. Tipped on ahead by Bullis. Icing, no, I think it's off the net, sorry, I should say.
Yeah, just a good old-fashioned everybody stick is on that one and out of play to start with. And of course, the big question now, how do Swindon respond from this? because a lot of teams sometimes will go behind early and you'll get an immediate push forward at real speed and real intensity. The Cats seemingly just trying to keep their emotions in check on the big stage, not rushing anything, just trying to play their way out of the position they found themselves in early.
It's one of those things you find in the playoff hockey. You can't win a game in the first period, but you can sure lose it if you make continuous mistakes as the shot comes in from the blue line. That one's held by Levine.
Yeah, Tyler Plu's there just at the blue line doing the sensible thing. Just put it on net, see what happens. Of course, in a big game like this, the nerves will be going on both sides. Will the rebounds come out of Hayden Levine early? And for the Wildcats, like I said, it's keeping those emotions in check. Will they up the pressure quickly, or will they slowly turn the gears on them?
Salem wins the draw. Phantoms unable to clear the zone. Dumped in by Sayers. Bebris, who is a D-man playing below the Phantoms goal line at the moment. Held by Norton. Hunts out. Phantoms will try and stop Vanya Antonov finding space. That one sort of goes through everyone. It's going to be collected by Sayers. So Antonov behind the goal. Levine gets the stick out. Bullis. Bumped in the corner by Salem. Antonov tries to go to the front of the net. No one there. Mitchell King will carry it out for the Phantoms. Gets the centre ice line. We'll play in the corner. Bebris will meet him at the pass. Able to find a play. There's a chance for Foster in front. Bobbling puck off the save of Marr again. No one picking up the man off the bench for the Wildcats.
Yeah, the man skating straight into a massive amount of space as everybody was sort of both puck watching and man watching in the zone. Didn't notice the man coming in from up high. The Cats now have managed to kind of clear the danger, and they're just going to reset and have another go.
Up the far side wall. Dumped in. Icing signal, but it's into the glove of Levine. He'll hold on. So apart from the absolute ripper from Nathan Salem in these first 3 minutes, it's very much been a case of, as you say, punch, counter punch, and both teams measuring each other up at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. So what I call sort of throwing out the jab, as it were, just kind of catching their distance. And you think, really, I mean, Nathan Salem will 100% claim that he was going for the shot, but I'm not even sure he was quite expecting it to go as well as it did so early on against such a good netminder as Rennie Marr. Ultimately, though, like you say, there's a bit about kind of establishing your game here. And Peterborough with a lead. As Peterborough with a lead, we know exactly what they like to do.
Britnell meets Hunt in the corner. Both teams battling away. It's still moving though, which is the important bit. Foster will try and clear the zone, helped out there by Gretton. Right to Bricknell. Bricknell chance, that one blocked in front, swarm of white shirts. Bradley, he'll have a go through traffic, that one's fired wide. Bricknell there to collect. And absolutely trucks one of the Phantoms forwards. Douglas will carry it ahead. Both teams get changes in. Jones, dispossessed by Hartman. That's just about get it clear. Offside is one of the more obvious ones there, as Hartman can't check back up on time. That will stay neutral ice.
One of the linesmen there just stepping in to stop Luke Johnson having too earnest a word with Barney Sari there. Jasper Foster getting absolutely trucked there by Jake Bricknell. Not very usual off the Cats games to need to up the physicality, but they might have to in this circumstance. It's not, they're very much a team. Swindon likes their long stretch passes, likes to move the puck around, but you kind of need to be a bit more physical on the stage, because if there's one team that will drag you into the trenches and beat you down, there it is the Peterborough Phantoms.
Officials just make sure everyone's in the right position on the draw. Tied up once more. Battling for it. Phantoms come away with it. McKenzie, shot. Gloved by Mai. Lets it go to Godfrey. Shaw. Up the far side wall. He'll take it around the back of the net. Pin to the boards there on this occasion. By Bowering. Shaw again does brilliantly well to get out of that jam. And unfortunately, toss it up under pressure at the blue line. Robson, furthest man forward. Throws it around the boards. Hartman will give chase. Lipsy there. Back high. Ferrara. Space into the glove of Marr. Ferrara from the inside hash marks there. That's the second time now already in the first 5 minutes. Luke Ferrara has been given the freedom of the high slot.
Yeah, we're just gonna see on the replay here. Everybody has just pinched far too far across, and just look at the space that Ferrara is standing in there. Not really the toughest of shots that Rennie Mar's gonna face this weekend. Ultimately made quite a routine save as a result of it. But the Cats, who've been quite intentful coming forward, they need to pay attention.
Tough shot from the blue line, swallowed up by Mar once more.
Nice straightforward one there for Mar, even easier than the previous one that came in.
Face off to his left on this occasion. Phantoms win another one. Huff drops it off for Thorpe. Taken down by Bebris. Cats will try and clear with Pecosda. Huff intercepts. Goes cross ice. That finds way to Lackinen. Ferrara. Phantoms looking to just open up the pockets of space. They try to go through to Ferrara. Ferrara into the zone. Shot saved by Mar.
Tyler Blue's calling for offside there, and it was certainly very, very close, but he looked onside from my angle up here. We might hopefully be able to just see it. Some great passing of the puck there by the Phantoms, just settling everything down.
See, I thought, obviously, where we are situated on this side of it, I thought that was pretty close, but I think the benefit of the doubt goes to Ferrara on that one. It looked okay to me anyway.
Yes, it certainly looked okay to me as well. But also as well, why are you turning around, waving at the linesman, stop the man getting the shot away?
Wildcats need to start doing better on these draws. They're losing a lot of them in the defensive zone already, and there's another one. I'll collect the puck as Spears pinches in. And look for an option. That pass broken up. Salem, scorer of the Phantoms' first goal. Dumps it in. Wells is there. Cats will reset once again.
And all that does is benefit Peterborough if they're a couple of, a 100 or so feet away from the goal.
Jones tips it into the corner, chases in himself. Bradley back to Bricknell. That one misses everyone in out the other side. Phantoms on the charge again. Salem up the near side, backhanded towards goal. That one's just behind Gretton on that occasion. Towards net, that one's into the glove of Mar. He'll hold on, and both teams will get a reset.
It's all just it's simple stuff from the Phantoms, but it's so effective. Stick in the lane, break up the long pass, and they don't need to pepper any Mar with lots and lots of shots. It's just a case of just putting the pressure on, put the puck back on there, get the offensive zone face-off, which they're winning time and time again at the moment. And all it does is just forces Swindon more and more into their shell, and that's going to ultimately, even if it stays at 1-0 through the next 20, 30, 40 minutes, all it does is benefit Peterborough, because Swindon are not going to score from their own zone.
Cats, I suppose finally you can say win and draw thanks to Sam Bullis, as it's fired up ice, bouncing puck, cleared out the zone. Change of direction for the Phantoms. Gretton again spins away from Smith, tries to find Foster, the trailing forward. Antonov gets his pocket pick, puck back to Foster. Towards goal, that one blocked by Smith in front. Shot towards goal, that was off the side of the net on that occasion. Cats recover the puck. Bullis will try and take it out of the zone, instead takes out a linesman. Godfrey. Through the middle of the Bullis, he'll just tip it on and go to the bench. And Gretton collects.
Daniel Antonov in again on the forecheck. He's been really, really good at pressing so far. Probably the best Wildcat for that in the opening moments of this game.
Dumped in. Phantoms setting up on the zone again. McKenzie turns and fires off the paddle of Mar. Malisinski able to beat Sari to the puck. Pecosda. Long stretch pass, tries to find the former Polish international. Icing called on that one. And go all the way back. I want to say the Cats are panicking so far, but they are very much second to every puck.
Second to every puck as well. And I don't know, everybody talks about how big the ice surface is here at Coventry. They're just not able to find the spaces. Peter are doing a really, really fantastic job of just positioning people in the right place at the right time. As soon as Swindon are being allowed to kind of turn and try to look up ice, but there's just nobody in any available positions. Seeing guys getting their pockets picked, sticks in lanes. Swindon need to try and find a way to create some space.
Ferrara, that one blocked by Pecosda. Bounces back to the GB International, and that one's into the glove of Mar once more.
And if you're Peterborough at this stage, you may as well just fire from all angles, given where, you know, Salem was so far out when he took that shot. Keep testing, keep throwing out that jab. You don't know what's going to happen if a rebound comes out in front. Well, as you say, Peterborough get first to the puck at the moment. There's more than likely going to be a guy on the doorstep able to do some damage if they do.
They've been very good at making sure they are blocking every passing lane. Every escape option has been taken out of the game so far by the Phantoms. There's another one as it's turned over to Ferrara once more. Pass from Plews as it's dumped into the corner. Lackinen, first man there. Bobbling puck out to the blue line. Cats will leave the zone. Bricknell up the far side. Draws Norton over. Shot from a tight angle as Levine is bundled down as one of the Cats forwards and Billy Thorpe go to the net. No call, the right call really. Beveris plays the puck at his own blue line. Quickly move back to Bricknell. Tries to find Billing. That cross-ice pass does not work on that occasion.
Well, that's certainly one way to get an opportunity if you're Swindon is by having Billy Thorpe trip up his own netminder. It's an unusual tactic.
Loses pass once again, picked off by Spears at centre ice. Phantoms up the near side, dumped in, they'll give chase. Still rolls through to Plews regardless. Spears tries to collect, clear to the blue line. Then Skatonis. Spears turns and fires, that one's blocked by Nihl. Pecosdi now. Steps inside his man, over to Nihl. He's got room to work on the far side. Draws Bugis out of position to Pecosdi. Momentum takes it behind the goal. Pass back to Malasinski, once again picked off by the Phantoms. 3-on-2 the other way. Trailing man Spears, that one's broken up by Malasinski. Very good job of breaking that pass up.
If you can't beat him, join him in that sort of circumstance as well. Peterborough had massive success sticking the stick into lanes, and Swindon now, when the opportunity comes, trying to do the same themselves, but they're just not getting anything going forward at the moment.
So pinned in by the too high forward check, and that pass again broken up. This time Foster. Phantoms dump it in, they can't do anything on that occasion. Wells. Bullets tipped ahead. Wells will give chase into the corner. Robson meets him there. Finally knocked out. And the Phantoms once again with the puck. That one launched up ice and out of the zone. Godfrey collects. Cats have to leave it. Is there another wayward pass? Would have drawn an offside. Foster at speed round Antonov towards the goal line. Godfrey misses on the hit, and that pass misses Sari. Halfway gone in the first. If you've missed it, Nathan Salem scored inside 40 seconds. It's been all Phantoms so far. McKenzie in the corner. Tries to go back to Thorpe and gets his pocket picked by Shaw. Fired in, that'll roll round to Lipsy. Norton takes a hit from Johnson.
Johnson needed to be careful there. He almost left his feet, and the last thing the Cats need to do is be giving away power plays in the offensive zone.
Phantoms out the corner with it. McKenzie thrown opposite side. Bradley has time. Once again, just that one a little bit panicky, just firing it up the ice and no red shirt there.
Shaw even calling for it, and he couldn't put it within stretch of him. He's not that tall, unfortunately, Josh Shaw.
Skatonis over to Bugis. McKenzie. There's another hit, and that's going to be another offside. Chris Jones may be guilty of wanting to make the hit a bit too much there on that occasion.
Certainly not a terrible thing to sort of try and establish something of a physical game. As I said, not something the Cats are generally known for. But he's charged in with everybody miles behind him. He's put the entire team in a position where they couldn't do anything.
Huff over the blue line, shot, save Mar, rebound back to Huff. Can't get it away from his backhand side. Bricknell. Oh, sorry, Plews, I should say. Evades the hit. There's Bricknell. He'll lay one of his own. It's 3-on-2 the other way. Huff, goal side, wraparound attempt to the front of the net. Ferrara scores into the roof of the net. And that is what the Phantoms deserve. 11:42. Luke Ferrara's third of the playoffs.
Well, as Swindon were looking to try and just lay big hits, Huff lays a hit. Bricknell then tries to step in, and all it's done is find that space that Swindon couldn't find at the other end, and it's just come round, and who was there in the low slot? Ferrara again. And the Phantoms are doing what the Phantoms do best.
Time out, Swindon Wildcats taken already. And this just feels like it's one of those timeouts where, I mean, you can see from where we are, Arenella's reading them the riot act right now of get in this game.
I mean, they are not here. They are physically here, but they appear to not. I mean, we talked about it, didn't we? We talked about turning up in the occasion. And where are we now as the timeout comes to a conclusion? You know, we're 11 minutes and change into this semi-final, and Swindon just have not been at the races at all. We talked about Peterborough being able to perform in the moment, and Peterborough have been excellent so far. That goal just symptomatic of what Peterborough do in these circumstances. Make you come off of your game where they play theirs, and nobody plays Peterborough Phantoms hockey better than the Peterborough Phantoms.
Ferrara from Huff, the Phantoms' second goal. Spears, fired back to Barry. Malasinski plays the body on that occasion. Puck will roll through to Wells. Gosdy gets it out from under his skates. Malasinski dumps it on ahead, evades a hit. Nihl will give chase. Salem is there first. And the Phantoms, it's 2-on-1 the other way. Spears just stays onside. Duncan Spears, backdoor chance, well broken up there. Once more. Malasinski, Gosdy on this occasion, I should say.
Yeah, the pass just a little bit behind the man there as Spears came across the blue line, and it just allowed Swindon the ability to just get the extra man back. 2-on-1 became 2-on-3 very, very quickly. And yeah, well, that timeout does not quite have been as effective as Arenell would have liked in the immediacy.
The shot comes in from centre ice into the glove of Levine. It will give the Cats an offensive zone face-off. Phantoms will be quite happy to take this as they're winning easily 2/3 of the draws at the moment.
Hayden Levine probably thankful for something to do. The one thing you don't want to do as a netminder is just be too cold in these situations, because ultimately a shot can kind of come from anywhere.
There's one from Bricknell as it fires past the blocker side.
It's like we timed it.
And Phantoms break again the other way. Lackinen into the zone. Lackinen kick save Marr. Huff will keep it in. Goes back to the Finn. Met by two Wildcats. Plews and Billing are there. Bricknell, an exuberant stick lift, shall we say, on that occasion.
Do nothing by halves.
Another pass turned over. Huff. Space. There is a penalty coming here on the Cats as Bebris finally touches the puck. And a slashing call is made. 13-19. The Phantoms will head to the man advantage as Glenn Billing heads to the box.
And just what they don't need at this moment, Swindon. It's hard to know where they find a way to come back in at the moment. It seems silly to say, you know, 13 minutes in. Where are the Swindon Wildcats? Where have they gone? Where is the team that has been so effective for the last, you know, sort of 60-odd games? They just do not appear to have an answer right now.
Phantoms on the power play this year. They were 2 off their own National League record. They scored 70 on the year, 28.46 success rate. The Cats on the penalty kill gave up 41, a 76.44 success rates. So games between these two teams were high scoring on man advantages. So now I've said that, that's a commentator's kiss of death. As the Cats are able to clear once more.
Yeah, a moment of real testing of the chin here for Swindon to see if it's 3-0 Peterborough at the end of the first. It is going to be a huge, huge hill to climb. I know that sounds very pithy to say, but at the moment, the way things are going, where are the goals going to come from for Swindon? Although a huge chance here if they can make it count.
Salem with the probably first mistake a Phantom's made all game so far. Jones bumped in the corner, losing out Douglas. 1:05 remaining on the Billing minor. Both teams reset. Phantoms get the top line power play unit out. Ferrara and Huff responsible for 33 of the Phantoms' 70 power play goals on the year. Lackinen in the corner, cycled round. Ferrara. That one picked off before it reaches him. Back to him though, thanks to Hunt. Ferrara in the corner. Left for Lackinen. Back boots. Douglas. Through traffic, saved by Marr, covers up at the second time, asking Huff on the doorstep. Gets a push away from Tyler Plew, shall we say. 5:11 remaining in the first, 31 seconds on a man advantage.
Well, Plew's not happy with that hip check that Huff threw earlier in the game. That's going to be a bit of a running battle, I think, for the remaining 45 and a bit minutes of ice time that we've got here. Good vision of Rennie Marr to kind of see that through the screen in front and cover up. Rebounds come up, covered it quickly. Given the fact they've been able to kind of draw him out of position, just helps build a little bit of confidence in these moments.
Cats win a draw, important time. Bebris moving along, it's cleared out the zone. Levine. Sit there and wait, 20 seconds remaining. Phantoms, more importantly for them, just setting up. Now, if they can get a goal again, all the better. Ferrara drops it off for Lackinen. Looking for space, there's Huff, there's the high man. Ferrara, billing about to rejoin the game. The penalty expires. Hunt, back to Ferrara. From the point, that one's hit wide. Shot comes in. Huff's stick actually takes it away from goal rather than towards it on that occasion. Bebris will carry it himself. Round two, Bebris backhanded towards goal. Bundled down by Huff. The Cats fans want a penalty. There's nothing in that one.
No penalty on that one. That's just being muscled off of your edges there. Great defensive work by the Phantoms on that occasion.
Norton. Chip that was near side wall. Foster helps on its way. Picked off by Wells. Long cross-ice pass trickles through to Pecosdi. Cuts inside Norton. Leaves it for Bricknell. He'll try and draw Gretton out wide. Cycle around to Wells. Wells shot off the paddle of Levine. Bradley. Towards goal again. Billing. Bumped off by Hartman. Phantoms recover the puck once more.
This is a bit better from the Cats here in terms of just pressing. Peterborough actually having to retreat before coming back forwards again.
Foster tips that one ahead. That one's well read by Wells. At the far side, towards the front of the net. Wells' tip can't get towards goal. Gets in the corner, bumped by Norton. Sayers spins away from one. Wells deposits Norton to the ice. Sayers fantastically well to get out of that ball battle. Finds Antonov. Godfrey calling for it. Winds up, fires. Tip from Sayers, takes it wide of the post.
Great bit of vision there from Reed Sayers. A good chance there for the Cats, but now they need to build on it. They've got one. They just need to keep pressing and pressing. They've got to start creating a little bit more. It's good, but it's not enough.
Norton takes it behind the Phantoms net. So we tick below 3 minutes remaining in period number one here of the final four. Phantoms up the far side wall at speed. Into the zone. Salem on a whole lap of it. Marr waved the blocker out and almost put it past himself. Spears towards goal. That one well read by Jamie Smith on that occasion. Mitchell King with him. And the Cats recover. Godfrey. Puck finds its way to Pecosdi. Now could be the chance. Pecosdi tries to find Nihl. Brilliant crouch block or dive block there. Towards again, Malasinski off the bar. Nihl tries to bundle in. Goal given. Well, we've got goal line technology this weekend. This could be the first real test. Is it Aaron Nill's goal? We'll find out.
Well, I thought it was Malasinski who got the last backhand to put it behind Levine. So here comes the replay. Malasinski goes forehand, backhand onto the crossbar, and then it looks like it will have come off of the back of Levine and over the line. The signal from the referee on the line was goal, but they're 100% going to look at this and a first test of this goal line technology.
Well, VAR has been brilliant in football, so what could go wrong this afternoon? The first time we'll be using it here this year. There is a conversation going on at centre ice.
You have to think, given the circumstances, Joe, given the occasion, they're going to look at this. And
yeah,
it's the
they
right
are
thing
going
to
to look. They have given us the signal. They are going to take a look. Obviously, they have the goal cams up above the net, so we will just have to relay the message over to you once it's given.
Well, it's better to be right than quick.
Yes.
Especially in this kind of circumstance. Now, with the signal being goal, without evidence to overturn it, conclusive evidence to overturn it, this goal is going to stand. We now just wait for the officials to look at it. I don't want to bring up the spectre of last year, but Peterborough did benefit off of the fact that we didn't have the ability to look at such things in 2024. Now that we do, what will be the result?
Yes, that game between the Phantoms and the Telford Tigers.
Well, also in the final as well, there was a goal that was given past Jordan Marr that Tom Norton still swears to me didn't cross the line, that was given as a goal.
This is the thing, it's an important thing to have. You can see the officials there. We'll go and make decisions. And Anthony says the important thing is the signal was goal. And much like whenever you see this in rugby or in football or in cricket or anything, you need indisputable evidence to overturn it.
Either way, though, a huge moment for the Wildcats here. They have struggled and struggled and struggled to get any kind of offence going. And where are we now? Just over 2 minutes away from the end of this first period. Even if this goal for some reason is chalked off, a massive chance they found a hole in the Phantoms' armour, and if you find one hole, you can find two, you can find three. So whatever happens off the back of this, Swindon must push on.
So the one thing for it is obviously we can't tell anything, we don't know what this is. We know the cameras are above the goal line, as expected. Honestly, there was a lot of bodies in the way there. This is going to be a hard decision as well.
Well, I think the question we have to ask ourselves is the referee on the line has called goal. So he must have seen something to give him the reason to believe that. The helmets are going back on though, Joe. We're about to get an answer.
And a goal is given. So I should say, producer Ben, the brilliant BASN and Drop the Puck crew who are obviously with us all weekend, they do have the ability to see it, and they've said it has dropped behind the line. Levine has tried to reach back and grab it out. So the correct decision has been made. We'll tell you who the goal scorer is when we get it. But
I think that'll go to Malazinski. Malazinski's the one who's put it off the crossbar and it's hit the back of Levine. So I think this one is going to go to Swindon's favourite Polish person.
Yeah, Malazinski is the signal we've been given as well behind us. Well, that's one. And they don't ask you if it was pretty all the time, they just ask you that it went in.
And what now from the Cats? They've been at sea and looking lost for more than quarter of an hour of this first period, and now they've finally found a way through. What is the response?
Jones up to Britnell on the far side. Chips it ahead to Bebris. Lackinen is there first. Person in front of the net, that was a chance. Fired wide. Malazinski given the Cats' first goal. Unassisted due to bundling, I must suggest.
Pick an assist, any assist.
Douglas fired in. 90 seconds remaining in the first. Lackinen takes it away from Plumes. Back to Norton. In front, that one blocked. Cats will settle clear. Both teams, you feel, just maybe looking to see out this last minute without making another error that leads to a goal.
Yeah, this is not the time for the Phantoms to panic. This is the time for the Phantoms to double down on what they do well.
Spears, first pass attempt blocked, leaves it for Norton. Backhanded into the corner into the final minute. Salem knocked off the puck by Bebris. Another poor pass this time from Nihl. Salem, again, taken out by Bebris rather well there. 3-on-3 the other way. Malazinski at the far side. Looks for an option, tries to find Pekozdi. That one wide of Levine's post again. In the corner, Pekozdi. Back to Godfrey. Crosses zone to Wells. That one brilliantly blocked by Spears. Tip in front off the follow-up shot. Wide once more. Phantoms carrying out the zone. 20 seconds remaining. Salem tied up by Malazinski. I'll go back to Godfrey. Cats will get one last change in. Wells. Billing. Lovely movement. Britnell off the side of the net. And that could have tied it up as we enter the end of the first periods. Well, for 15 minutes, Swindon had nothing. Peterborough had taken everything out of the game. The fantastic first goal from Nathan Salem. Luke Ferrara with the double down. The Phantoms have been brilliant for the first 20 minutes. One small mistake, however, and it's a 2-1 game.
And you've seen those bits of... we talked about the fact that Swindon were not finding the spaces. They weren't able to get anything going because Phantoms were just clogging the zones. And we saw them all that period came on. that the space is starting to open up, and we saw it there in the last moment. Yes, Jake Bricknell's put that wide, but the gaps are starting to appear. The Phantoms, the period break has come at just the right time for Peterborough. They can start to lock things down again, and the second will be their hope.
Right, they'll go back to the changing rooms, probably get the hairdryer treatments and the mistakes there. We'll be back with you with the second period in roughly about 15 minutes' time. Welcome back to the Skydome in Coventry and NIHL Final Four weekend. The second period in semi-final number 1 is just about ready to start. The Swindon Wildcats 1, Peterborough Phantoms 2 after 20 minutes. Shots on goal in the first period, 13 on Rennie Marr, 10 on Hayden Levine. And Anthony, it very much feels like, for the most part of that period, it was one-way traffic. The Phantoms have been dominant.
Very much so. They've had more of the balance of play. If anything, 10 shots for Swindon is generous, given what we saw in the first sort of 16, 17 minutes of that period. The Phantoms were just able to establish their game plan, of course, helped by that early goal from Nathan Salem inside the first minute. And Peterborough went in to do what Peterborough do the best. They started forcing Swindon into having to be overly physical, something that they're not particularly good at doing. It's all in good upping your physicality, but Swindon are so not used to using it in that way that they found themselves in something of a problematic position of trying to use a part of the game that they don't use on a regular occasion.
Here is the goal, by the way, for the Wildcats. We believe we've got the footage from the goal line cam. So here's the mad bundle.
There it is going in. The shot from Malazinski. Malazinski will come around. Levine goes down into the butterfly, it goes up. There it is, hitting the crossbar. There it is, and it's very clearly over the line there. Phantoms can argue that one till the cows come home, but I can absolutely see why the referees, 1, had a look at it, and 2, why they gave it.
Producer Ben behind us is overjoyed as the replay works.
If there's something that you want in this moment where you're producing this for people across countries to watch, it's like, I want to press this button, I want it to work.
Yeah,
it works.
please.
We don't ask for much, but just the same thing multiple times.
As the Phantoms are back out on the ice. If you're a Phantoms fan, you're just thinking more of the same in this next 20 minutes.
Very much so, although those last couple of minutes we talked about, the spaces that they weren't allowing at the beginning started to open up, and we're starting to allow the Wildcats back into it more and more. The period breaks come at a good time for Peterborough, just to let them have a bit of a rest, reset, and go back to doing what they were doing, because, yeah, for the first part of this, it was almost like a Phantoms training session at moments. Swindon had no answer for what Peterborough were laying down.
As it goes, just wait for it to reset the 20. Official calls them in, and we are underway with the second period of this semi-final. The Cats win the opening puck drop. What have they spoken about in the locker room? Nihl from centre ice dumps it in. That'll roll around the boards, intercepted by Lackinen. Phantoms up the far side. Lackinen drops it off. Bowering pinching in towards the front of the net. That one deflected, an important deflection there on that occasion by Sam Godfrey. Wells. I'll roll through to Malazinski.
The idea was there from Malazinski to try and lay it off for Picotti, but just didn't fall for him. Robson
able to take it away from him on this occasion. Punted ahead into the corner. Bowering is there. Wells, sorry, Billing even will come in and collect the puck. In the corner. Tries to find one of Jones or Bricknell, but it will just roll through. Bricknell does a brilliant job about muscling Austin Mitchell-King. Shot towards goal. Fired off the plexi. Bebris. Got into the front of the net. No one there in a red shirt. Spears were helping on its way. 2-on-2 the other way. Salem, scorer of the game's first goal. Fired towards net, wide of the right-hand post of Marr. That's just behind Bebris on that occasion. And we'll dump it in.
This is better from the Wildcats at the moment, but they've got to be careful here because it looks like the Phantoms are going to beat out the icing.
Hunt beats Plews to the puck. Plews will make sure the man goes no further. Flipped high and out the zone. Norton finds Foster, pushes on the head to wash out any icing call. Foot race run by Gretton. Gretton and Blues meeting now is a battle of two big bodies as Hunt tries to go back to Gretton. Tied up by the Scot once more. And trying to brought out the par by Bebris.
The unstoppable force and the immovable logic there behind the Wildcats goal for those two.
Thorpe turned over to Antonov. Try and get away from Hunt. Coughed up once more and cleared by the Phantoms. Antonov finds Bullis. Lovely little toe drag around the diving Jarvis Hunt. Antonov again behind the net, towards the front of goal, and too many sticks in the lane there. Antonov's shot into the glove of Levine. He'll hold on as both teams struggle with line changes. And slow, more patient start to this opening 3 minutes.
But better from the Wildcats, which will also make Swindon fans a little bit happier. A few more chances, a little bit more kind of zone time. When you consider how the first started, it's like night and day for Swindon, and Antonov there getting that last shot a man. No stranger to scoring in this building.
Johnson spins away from Hartman. Stalemate does a good job of tying his man up and creating the turnover.
This fourth energy line for the Wildcats looked very promising in the first, much more promising than some of the other lines. They've just got to be able to keep their powder dry whilst they're out there.
Move along. That one just behind Ryan Wells. Wells holds off McKenzie and will take it himself. Ryan Wells, lovely little move to get around one, but can't fit through the gap and get it back past defence Katonis.
Great move there by Wells, is just taking the game by the scruff of the neck himself.
Half fire towards goal, blocked in front. Go end to end. Malasinski played on ahead. Gets a return pass from Lipsy. Fired off the shins of Lackinen. Nihl, round the boards it goes. Because he has to let it roll out the zone to avoid a too many men call.
Bit of confusion screaming down on the Swindon bench. They might have potentially got the numbers wrong there.
Phantoms over the blue line once more. Lackinen forced wide. Shot from the blue line, tipped in front. Ferrara spins under pressure from Bebris. Can't get a clean shot away. You can see the game plan here for the Phantoms. They're almost firing pucks just towards this high slot area and just waiting for a man to be there. It's Huff over the blue line once more. Little stop and go towards goal. Ferrara tied up. Couldn't get a shot on goal. Thorpe. Back to the Phantoms captain. Turned, fired. Man in front. Can't get a deflection. It's Mitchell King. Back to the blue line. A little too hot to literally handle there for Ferrara, and it trickles out the zone.
That's why he's not a goalkeeper, you would imagine, on that front. Yeah, but a good spell of pressure there from the Phantoms, where the Wildcats have been better at coming forward to start this period. Peterborough then pinning them back.
Lovely pass to Salem, off the shoulder of Marr with a shot. Godfrey below his own goal line. Met by two Phantoms. Salem digs it out of the pile. And again, another puck unable to be kept in. Bricknell on the charge, the Leeds top goal scorer, poked off at the end of his stick.
Just didn't fall for him at the right moment there, and just when you want him to just pull the trigger and fire with some venom, he just hops off the end of his stick at the wrong moment.
Mitchell King, lovely moves. He drives to centre lane. Through another one. Austin Mitchell King, drop pass. Not to a white shirt. Billing will take it the other way. Weaving his way through the zone. Tries to fire it back to Jones. Chris Jones shot. Saved by Levine. Malasinski forced in tight. Does a good job of avoiding Levine, I must admit.
Spears now without a stick. He's been flown into the corner thanks to that contact with Malasinski. Obviously not happy about it, but it was 50-50 there, all things considered. Not wise of Spears to look for a penalty, as well, as a somewhat aggressive cuddle in the corner there.
Plews gets his pocket picked by Gretton. 2-on-1, Phantoms the other way. Gretton shot. That one clangs pipe and up into the netting.
Huge chance there. You can only imagine the air that would have been sucked out of the Wildcats had Joe Gretton found the back of the net. And just out of nowhere, out of that massive pile in the corner, seemingly out of nowhere, the Phantoms are 2-on-1 up the other end, and you can't blame Joe Gretton for seeing the bright lights there for a second, even with the man across. If nothing else, hoping that maybe a rebound might have popped out advantageously, but not to be. Offensive zone face-off though for the Phantoms.
Cats win the draw that almost trickles through the painted area. Sayers loses out. Then Skatonis dumps it down low. Gretton looking for an option, dispossessed by Bebris. Guilty of looking up for where he was going to play the puck and not watching the man bearing down on him. Fired cross ice to Bradley. That one's off a linesman. Sayers thrown into the opposite corner. Antonov will get there first. Drops it off for Bullis. Provides a hit from Foster. Good job by the Fantasy Sword to knock him off the park. Give the Phantoms a chance of clearing the zone, which they do eventually manage. Flip it up now.
It's been a much more scrappy period so far, with about 7 minutes gone. Been some great moments of flowing hockey, but then other moments where just nothing seems to come off for anybody at all, which ultimately, again, this benefits Peterborough massively.
Played on the head. Mark settles it down. Cats will try and launch the attack up this near side wall with Lipsy. Shaw stopped at the blue line. Offside signalled. As Robson collects the puck.
You just wonder at moments like this, because Swindon it's been much better from the Cats to start this period as we're going to go down the other end for icing. But again, the space, they've had a bit more space, but they just don't feel like they're crafting an awful lot out of it at the moment. They just need that little bit of extra space that they've not been able to find, that they found at the end of the first. It isn't appearing for them now.
And that was a chance. The first real offensive zone draw for the Cats. And once more, Phantoms do an excellent job of tying up. It leaves Malasinski to collect the puck. Holds off Robson. Spins fast towards goal, and that is a chance that bobbles up a stick and over the net for Aaron Nihl in front.
That's better. That's much, much better from the Cats. The pressure's still on.
Pekozdi fired off the side netting. Douglas will beat Malasinski to it, and that will draw another icing call.
Zane McKenzie practicing the golf swing a little early there, but clears the lines, and yes, just allows the guys on the ice can't get a change, but it does allow them a few extra lungfuls of air to get themselves ready.
Face off once again to Levine's left. Phantoms given a warning. Another job tied up. Bobbling puck will trickle through, and the Phantoms will bring it up ice with Sari. That will let the Phantoms at least change a few players. They try and line match. Malasinski. Fire cross ice. Pekozdi. 3-on-2. The other way. Pekozdi tries to find Bradley. Puck trickles through to Nihl. Towards goal. Saved by Levine. Malasinski first to the loose puck. Away from Huff. Cycle down low. Good job from Robson again. Towards the front of the net. Malasinski tied up. Bradley. Back high. Cats trying to get the cycle going here in the corner. Pekozdi. Unceremoniously dumped to the ice by Scott Robson. Back high. Bradley. Draws the man over. Pass across. Fired towards net. That one takes a deflection high up into the netting. The running block there from Cam Howe. Up into the netting.
A slight change of some bits and pieces there. I notice now that Wells and Bradley heading out there as a pairing much more than Wells and Godfrey, which was the announced line and what they did an awful lot of in the first period. A few little tweaks from Aaron Nihl as they tried to sort of craft some offense there. As Nathan Salem jumps the face off by quite some time.
No one tied up. Blown dead. I believe the warning being given to the Wildcats on this occasion for moving the puck on one knee.
Yeah, Glenn Billing diving in. You've got to stay on your feet until the puck is kind of away from that initial face-off contact.
Phantoms win the draw. Norton. Clearance to neutral ice. Bebris. Tick to 9 minutes gone in the second. Almost halfway through semi-final one. And in the corner. Bebris tied up. Godfrey. Finds his way to Bricknell. Sort of cross-ice pass. Billy. 2 men to beat. Drops it off for Jones. Jones fired from Again, the wrong side of the face-off dot if you're a Wildcats fan. A lot of the shots in the first period from similar areas. I've seen you targeting that far side wall and hoping bodies get towards net and cracking the net and getting a rebound.
Yeah, what's the definition of man? This is repeating the same thing and expecting a different result. I noticed as well there, like we see, we've got Wells out with Blues, potentially off the face-off here, looking for the big shot. I did like that pairing of Bedbris and Godfrey for the Wildcats on the D. It just allows Bedbris the opportunity to venture further forward. But again, they're trying things, but it's just really not coming off for them in spades. It's great defensive work by the Phantoms, though.
Wells' dumping is blocked away by Levine. Phantoms being pinned back for the first time in a long time. Gretton will just throw it out to neutral ice once again. Cats there first. Robson beats Antonov to it. Pushed on ahead. Wells will get it in the corner. Sayers tries to find Bullis, only finds a linesman. Fired on ahead, they'll roll through the Blues. Blues pushed on ahead. Phantoms very much sitting back with 3 men on the blue line now. Ferrara drops off the centre on the forecheck. Works, Lackinen to Ferrara. Tries to find Huff in front, saved by Marl. That goal is very much off. Puck played ahead. Here come the Cats on the rush the other way. Pakosdi, shot, fired, posted in, and we have a tie game at 30-39. Balin Pakosdi gets his third of the playoffs.
Well, after a bit of madness in and around the Wildcats net, Renimar puts it back on, and the Wildcats go to work, and with Venstakonis as that screen in front of Levine. Pakosdi's just found the inside corner of the post and beaten the man in blue and white. And well, at this point of the first period, it felt like the Wildcats didn't have an answer, and they seem to have pulled themselves back from the brink. And just over halfway through this first semi-final, parity restored.
Pressure bursts pipes. We are all tied up just over halfway through. All still to play for in the last 29 minutes and change of this first semi-final. Cats win the draw. The Phantoms have to find an answer. We're in similar vein of what we were in the first as Thorpe collects the puck. Norton. Jones bearing down with one-man forecheck. Cosdy from Bedbris is the Cats' second goal, and that one is iced once more from the Phantoms. So we saw in the first period, Anthony, when it was 2-0, the Phantoms, as the clock is still running for some reason. It's finally stopped. The Phantoms applied pressure, ran out into that early lead. They really choked the life out of the Cats in that first period. Now they have to find a response for essentially the same thing.
Yeah, it's a bit of a strange one there, and the Phantoms massively jumping. Nathan Salem there switching on the face-off, complaining to the linesman and saying he should be dropping the puck when he's not, but this is the sort of thing that Nathan Salem is great at. It's those little touches.
Blues shot blocked away by Levine. Bedbris keeps it in the zone. Nihl, as this Cats top line is rolled out once more. Sensing an opportunity, perhaps, Smalasinski draws 2 men out of position, tries to find Nihl. He's tied up brilliantly well there by Nathan Salem.
It should be said, goal aside, Nathan Salem has been fantastic for the Phantoms so far today. Yes, they are facing a little touch of adversity, and as you say, what response now do the Phantoms have? Now their lead has evaporated, but stopping a real chance there was the former Hull Seahawk.
That pass broken up on that occasion by Barry. Cats reset. Blues away from Mackenzie. Sari bearing down on him. Pushed on ahead. Carried into the zone by Sayers, but he's quickly dispossessed. Barry. Again, through centre. That one trickles through to Hartman. Cats stuck a second, goes to the front of the net. That one between the legs. Rolls through. Hartman not with a stick on the ice on that occasion.
Just a chance for the Cats to reset now. The atmosphere has shifted in this building, Joe. It's been a fascinating encounter to watch, but you kind of wonder what's going to happen next.
Britnell dumps that one ahead into the glove of Levine. 7:23 remaining in the second. It's all gotten a bit nervous here in the building again.
Yes, I said at the beginning of this period it was feeling a bit bitty and a bit scrappy, and that people weren't kind of sort of settling things down. And well, the Cats were obviously very, very nervous. You could almost feel that nervous energy at the start of the first, but now the Phantoms feel nervous into the bargain, and it's making for a very, very interesting dynamic, one that you wouldn't normally associate with these two teams. Almost like the occasion is slightly starting to tell. As the officials make a enforced change here. Clearly not happy with the...
I think it's the late change.
Yeah, the timings. But the Cats, of course, have the last change and probably trying to take a little bit too much advantage there.
Panthers, who I must say have been phenomenal in the face-off dot all afternoon so far. Levine settles that down for Robson.
I was going to say, you think about Will Weldon, the former captain of the Peterborough Phantoms, probably one of the best face-off men at this level for quite some time, and they had to find an answer with his retirement, and they certainly seem to have found that in spades, that they are getting a lot of big opportunities, because when the restarts happen, it's the Phantoms coming up with the puck.
Robson, that clearance kept in by Jones. Foster for company. Phantoms will just about clear the zone as it rolls through to Bradley. Lovely little move to step inside the forechecker. Dumped ahead into the corner. Robson is there. We'll get out of the zone and run through to Lackinen. What can Yanni Lackinen do here for the Phantoms? Waits for players to come off the bench. Huff. Too many men called out with lots of white shirts. Is avoided. Towards the front of the net. Huff on the back door. Marr flashes the pad out. Back to Huff again. Lackinen gives it back to Huff, and that one will bounce off the stick of Bouglas and go all the way the other end of the ice.
Just a bit too hot to handle there as the puck came back. Good pressure from the Phantoms, but a massive, massive save from Rennie Marr in the trenches just when you needed him to do something.
Ferrara down low. Lackinen once more. Stick lift by Wells will trip through to Godfrey. Malasinski will carry it out. Finds Nihl. Aaron Nihl into the zone, onto his backhand. Brilliant stop there by Bouglas. Ferrara keeps it away from Godfrey. Phantoms haven't really got an idea at the moment, but here is an opportunity. Huff into the zone. This top line for Phantoms has been out in a good few minutes due to the amount of icings that have been called. It should be, in theory, be well rested. As Jones gets the centre ice line and dumps it into the corner. Vince Katonis is there. Two-man high forecheck for the Cats is changing the game through the second period. Thorpe ahead to Mitchell King, cuts inside Jones. Billing on the back check, takes it away. And that one off of a player on the bench. That will stay in the Cats zone. 4:45 remaining in the second.
You talk about the Phantoms not having much of an idea, and I can't disagree, but if there's one thing the Peterborough Phantoms are, it's ruthlessly patient when it comes to things. As you see here, on the replay, the shot coming in, Huff there on the doorstep, and Rennie Marr just being strong with the right pad, keeping it down and just not allowing anything through. But yeah, the Phantoms are, like I say, one of the most patient teams. Slava Kulikov does not breed panicky hockey teams. Even at this point, they are going to fancy themselves in with a chance.
Salem plays that one ahead. Spears. Sticks fighting all over the place. Shot fired in. Deflected into the corner. Spears towards the front of the net. Now could be the chance as Marr tries to jump on it. Mitchell King couldn't get it out of his skates. 4-on-3 the other way for the men in red. Antonov. Offside called. One move too many from the forward on that occasion.
And just a great bit of work there by the fenceman to step up just at the right moment and delay Antonov's progress over the line. And I think it's, I'm unsure whether it was Tyler Blues or Jake Britnell coming across the line there, but yeah, just a great bit of work by the defenseman. Steps in and immediately wiping out the danger.
Phantoms win the draw. Barron tries to find Hartman. Cross ice Hard across to McKenzie. Gets under control. Bumps into the corner by Wells. Johnson will get it clear. Thrown ahead. Bradley can't beat Barron to the park. Johnson will push it on net. Levine will settle it down and leave it for Hartman.
Luke Johnson's done a great amount of work just putting himself around. I've been massively impressed with the sort of energy line the Cats have been putting out.
They've done their job in spades so far. Bebrus keeps that one in, fire towards the net. Levine will hold on. 3:27 remaining in period number 2.
Hope rather than expectation there from Edgar Bebrus, but it just does the job of getting the face-off back in that zone. Now, of course, the Wildcats have to actually win the face-off in the zone, which has not been their strength this afternoon. Be interested to see who comes up and takes it against Aaron Nihl, because he's not had the best of luck against Cam Huff. He's not had the best of luck against Richard Hartman either.
It is Huff who skates into the face-off dot. To the surprise of no one, Huff wins it again. Pekosny battles it off of Venskatonis, drops off to Malasinski. That one blocked by Huff again. Comes all the way out to the Wildcats bench. Delayed offside, Pekosny back over the blue line. Venskatonis at the far side. Ferrara tips it on ahead. Lackinen able to beat Godfrey to it. In the corner, Lackinen all the way back out to Venskatonis. Man circling in front of the net as that pass is broken up by Malasinski. He'll chase himself. 3-on-3. Malasinski fired cross ice to Nihl. Tries to return to sender. And will trickle below the goal line. Malasinski away from Huff. Looking for an option. Finds Wells. Brilliant tip to get that away from Yanni Lackinen.
Yeah, just the simple things there for Peterborough. Not panicking, not jumping into the play too hard and too fast, but the spaces are starting to open up a little bit now in the latter stages of the second period. Deja vu.
Godfrey throws that one in from centre ice straight into the netting, so that will come all the way back out to neutral ice.
This is why Sam Godfrey plays on defence.
It's one of the things you say, the Phantoms are patient. You've got to think, try and sit out this next 2 minutes and assess what the Wildcats are doing is more the important thing. They have been very good at picking teams apart this year. They were very good doing it in the first period.
And also they forced the Wildcats into just putting in that extra bit of energy, going up ahead early, forced the Cats to kind of come out of their shell, really press. What is the conditioning of the Wildcats going to be coming into that final period when they had to expend so much energy in the first 40 minutes to come back from the dead?
Phantoms wins another draw. Fired into the corner. Bradley tries to help it on its way. Coughed up to Foster. Billing again on the back check. Able to take it away. Bradley loses out on that occasion. That one, a dangerous area for that shove. Dare I say it, in the regular season, that's probably called. Bricknell able to take it away from Norton. Holds off the Britt D man. Jones with help from Billing. Held by the Zamboni doors as it's brought away by Norton. Mitchell King through centre ice. Here's the chance. Spears off the glove of Marr. Bradley on clean-up duty will throw it into neutral ice.
Massive save, and here come the Cats the other way.
Antonov gets his pocket picked. Mitchell King able to clear. 80 seconds remaining in period number 2. Bradley thrown up to Antonov. Forgets to take the puck with him. Robson pokes it out the zone. Antonov's really want to get it back. Bullis. Little dump and chase for the Cats to set up in the zone. Johnson tries to find it back to his captain. Barron does a very good job of tying up the Cats forward. Final minute of period number 2 as the puck comes back to Bullis' stick. Neither team wants to make a mistake at this point in the period. The Phantoms long stretch past to Mitchell King. Tipped ahead, icy waved off.
No, the Cats clearly thinking that they should have got that there, but there was definitely a deflection somewhere in the neutral zone that took it away.
Turn to senders, looking out his net to play it. That one will almost get through to Malasinski. Lackinen finds Huff. Huff at the blue line, shot in and out of the glove of Marr. He had no clue where that was. Bebrus comes in and cleans up. Huff and Plews tied up behind the play. Wildcats the other way, 15 seconds to go Nihl into the corner for Pekozdie to chase. Pushed off the puck rather easily. Lackinen, time for a buzzer beater. That will roll through to Huff. Blast from the blue line into the glove of Marr, and that will blow the second period dead as there's more coming together behind the play. And after 40 minutes, we are still all square. It is 2-2. There's still more words going on here as Jani Lackinen making friends with, by the looks of it, Tyler Plews.
Well, Plews has been very, very unhappy with some of the stick work that's been going in and some of the elbows coming up off of the play. And let's face it, ultimately no call was going to be called there between Plews and Huff going at it. It's 6 of one, half a dozen of another. You're not going to call either man unless you're going to give both of them the life tax 2 minutes.
It does feel like you might get one of those at some point in the third just to
calm it down.
Calm it down a little. It's been played in very good form so far, and hopefully nothing silly happens. 40 minutes gone now, Anthony. The Wildcats much better in that second period. As you say, Phantoms, you could tell a little bit of maybe patience, sitting back, letting things happen, seeing where they can pick the Wildcats apart.
Yeah, and I think that will be the worry going into the third period for Aaron Nihl, because I said at the beginning of the game, didn't I, if the Phantoms are room to puncher's chance, they're going to fancy their chances, because if there is one team in the National Division that can hit you on the counter, score a goal, and then sit back and shut the door on you, it's the Slava Kulikov coach Peterborough Phantoms. Fascinated to see what the Wildcats' response here is, because we are very much into Phantoms territory now.
Well, we'll be back with you in about 15 minutes' time. We're back with the third period and possibly the O word. We'll see you then. For the third and possibly final period of our first semi-final of the afternoon. It's currently the Swindon Wildcats 2, Peterborough Phantoms 2. And before I hand you over to Anthony, one bit of housekeeping on the Phantoms' first goal. Now reads, scored Nathan Salem, assisted Tom Norton and Austin Mitchell-King, who has been successfully point chiseling there for the second assist.
No comment. Couldn't possibly comment on that one at all. What a strange second period, though, Joe. It kind of went. It was a little bit of a. Well, it's certainly much more even, if nothing else, given the fact that the Swindon seemed to struggle for the first 16, 17 minutes of the first period. We then had a much more even middle frame that we saw the Phantoms kind of pushed back onto the back foot for the first time, really, in this game, but they remain within punching distance, and this will massively favour them, because as we said at the end of the second, if there's any team that can throw a counter punch and then shut up shop, it is Peterborough. However, what we will possibly see here, I would like to see Swindon rush this. I would like to see Swindon come out all guns blazing and try and do something with it, because when the spaces have opened later on in the periods, it's really, really worked out well for them. If they can do that earlier in the period, what can they generate as a result?
That second period that you said from the Cats is very much a case of monkey see, monkey do. They saw how the Phantoms came out to start that first. 2 high forward checkers, pinned them back, and they just went and copied it, and the Phantoms did not have an answer for it for, again, 16, 17 minutes of the period. Sticks
in lanes as well that Swindon were doing much better at as well, just trying to make sure that they could break up plays in various bits. And also, they weren't as physical. There were still elements of physicality. Thank you, Luke Johnson, bouncing around like a pinball. But it was much more controlled. That physicality the Cats were using at the end of the first, it was reckless. It looked like they were just throwing hits for the hope of making hits, and ultimately throwing a massive hit ended up causing the second goal earlier on in the first. A much more controlled, calm performance somewhat from Swindon, albeit you can tell the nerves were sinking in that middle frame. Whoever has the better mentality, maybe not necessarily the better play, is probably going to take this.
Shots on goal in the second period. There were 5 on Rennie Marr, 11 on Hayden. Sorry, I've got it the wrong way around there. 11 on Rennie Marr, 5 on Hayden Levine. Teaches me how to read. Please, someone. Sarcasm, I feel I should point out.
No.
I'll make sure I have the sign ready for later, everyone.
Yes. I'm teaching you nothing.
So, 20 minutes, plus possibly overtime to start semi-final number 1. We're not quite in who blinks first territory just yet, but it's getting close. Officials called him in, checks with the goal judges, and we are underway with the third period as Aaron Nihl wins the draw.
After a pregnant pause.
One comes ahead. Icing is called. Just Pekozdie has been dumped to the ice, and
well, Scott Robson very lucky there not to be called for interference.
Yeah, there's there's an air of the officials have let the game go on. That icing's been washed out and it will go back to centre ice. You feel like they might get a case of, if they find a player from each team that they can chuck for 2 minutes, it might come at some point in this period just as a send a message kind of case.
Hello, Cam Huff and Tyler Plews, as Wells nearly puts Ferrara into the bench.
Speaking of Huff, he skates at Godfrey. Nihl there on the back check. Turns it over, Malasinski. Finds Wells, who'll drive the centre lane, off to Pekozdi. Wells to the front of the net, no stick on the ice. Phantoms the other way. Lovely little move into the zone by Lackinen, shot on goal. Marr with the pad planted against the post, keeps that one out. Chance again for the Phantoms. Fired across to Norton, top of the circle, shot towards goal, off the stick of Marr again. Huff towards goal again. Ferrara very much just trying to screen the netminder in front of the last second. Marr holds on.
Some good rebound control there as well from Rennie Marr. Not sure how much he knew about that kick off to the balls there with the right pad, but he's certainly putting everything in the right places to start things off there.
Reminder, game 1 of 4 for the weekend. You can still get your streams for the following 3 games. 2 coming tomorrow, the D1 Championship and your National League player final, and Leeds versus Milton Keynes at 5:30. Played on ahead by the Cats. Jones will chase it himself ahead of Norton. Good block by Norton. Causes the ricochet back to Bricknell. Plews from the blue line, blocked by Mitchell King. Bevis finds that one over. Jones, that one, no tip on that one. Icing will come all the way back.
No, Plews was looked up, Billing called for the puck, and he just missed him by a good couple of feet there, unfortunately, which has now put Swindon back in their own zone.
Phantoms will take the opportunity and roll out this top line of Huff, Ferrara and Lackinen.
Very much been the big line. They've eaten a lot of minutes tonight, where Swindon have arguably rolled more of their lines.
Well, for once the Cats get a break in the face-off dot, Billing able to steal it away from Huff.
That's 2 in a row for Glenn Billing now.
Tied up here near side, Lackinen over to help and separate the man from the puck. Bricknell finishes a hit on Huff, and Bebris takes it away from Ferrara. Played on ahead. Both the Phantom Swords there, just blocking off the pass to Bricknell. It is very quiet in the rink at the moment, from the sounds we had earlier, as Ferrara drops it back to the blue line. Shot from Venskatonis, saved by Marr. Huff getting his helmet removed there by Eddie Bebris.
Yes, just being reminded that no, you're not allowed to stand that close to Rennie Marr without some sort of repercussion. As you say, it's gotten very. There's a sort of anticipatory hush that's fallen over the crowd, which is, you know, of course, interesting given the amount of people that are here from other teams. Everybody's kind of on tenterhooks here with 17:55 to play in the third.
Antonov will carry it up this near side wall, drops it off inside for Sayers. Tries to get the return pass, well read there by the Phantoms defenseman. Bullis takes it away from McKenzie. Wells calling for it, shot through traffic. Levine sees it late, but sees enough to keep it out.
Big save there from Hayden Levine.
McKenzie thrown ahead. Sari will give chase. Wells does a good job of screening him off. And clearing the puck. Here come the Cats, 3-on-2. Bullis cuts inside, shot fired straight off the first man. Antonov. Sayers turns, fires, that one's off the post. Antonov again, down low. Draws Barron to him. And turned over there, unfortunately, for the Cats by the Phantoms. They keep it in the zone again, though. Here comes the cavalry off the bench. Bradley to Bebris. Fired in front, saved by Levine. And that'll draw a crowd.
Yep, some aggressive hugging going in there. Joe Gretton, of course, always first to get involved in things. As the linesman's down, there's a
this feels
punch
like
there on Hartman.
This was like the opportunity for the life tax calls we were saying.
Yeah, and so, but I don't venture anything's going to particularly come there. I feel everybody sort of kind of fall over. Josh Shaw, they're grabbing a massive hold of Richard Hartman and kind of dragging that pile to the ice as the Cats' fourth line and the Phantoms' third line sort of makes some acquaintances. They're still going. But this is the sort of thing that some of the, and again, it's Luke Johnson who's been used in such an interesting way tonight for the Cats. Such a sort of a calm role player. There was some talk, you know, given the retirement of Russ Cowley last year, the fact that he can play at both ends of the ice, play D, play forward, as to what he's going to do. This is not very Russ Cowley-like from Luke Johnson, and I have to say I like it from him. He's finding a way to make himself useful in a game where they needed to do something different.
We'll see if he can win the draw here. Face off to Levine's right. Puck tied up. Hunt able to bring it away. Back into the pile. Foster overskates it a little bit. Able to find Hunt. Straight off the end of his stick. Gretton ahead of Smith. Into the corner. Bebris. Roll through to Johnson. He'll collect it behind his own goal. Dumped on ahead. Levine out of his net to play it. Lipsy bearing down. Able to find its way up to Gretton and out of the zone. Both teams will try and get changes in. Nihl, the one-man forecheck, as the puck finds its way to Foster. Quickly turned over. Puck off escape. Gretton will beat Nihl to it. Icing waved off as Jamie Smith plays the puck. Round to Wells. Malasinski. That one's coughed up to Lackinen.
Puck's being a bit of a hot potato at the moment. Nobody seems to want to hold on to it for too long.
Dumped in. Wells, first man there. Lackinen bearing down. That one turned over, however. Shot towards goal. Blocked by Smith. He's got the managerial job of trying to keep up with Luke Ferrara at the moment.
Well, what a statement of confidence and the talents of Jamie Smith to be out there at a moment like this.
Lackinen back high. Huff through traffic. That one's off the glass. Ferrara loses out to Pecosdi. Calmly moved up to Nihl. Brilliant pinching in job there from Douglas. Prevents the breakout. Won't do it on the second time of asking. Arm up. The Cats are going to go back on the penalty kill. It's a pretty obvious slash in front of the official. Delayed penalty coming. Phantom 6-on-5 for now.
Levine just about makes it over the boards.
Bless him. Salem driving up this near side. Draws Wells wide. Godfrey able to take the puck off him. Slashing is the call. 45-0-3. The Phantoms back on the man advantage.
Well, ironclad that one, unfortunately, for Tomasz Malazinski. And, I mean, how necessary it was kind of in the moment. You can see what he's tried to do there, because obviously the puck's coming high up into the zone. Phantoms were starting to apply a little bit of pressure, and Malazinski's just tried to get rid of it, unfortunately, in a way deemed against the rules by the officials, as the second unit comes out here for the Phantoms by the look of it. Nathan Salem to take this face-off.
Second unit for the Phantoms, as Andy says, still a good one. Nathan Salem responsible for 9 of the Phantoms' 70 power play goals in the regular season. Must be better than the first opportunity earlier in the game. Cats doing a very good job of blocking off any lanes. Salem near side. Tries to draw Johnson wide, doesn't bite. Phantoms, more of this slow, patient build-up. Shot comes in from blue line. That's so well, threw a lot of bodies in front, and the Cats survive. Almost a chance there on the back door for Brad Barron.
But it's cut out again by Luke Johnson. Another massive moment from him in this game.
Top unit, or most of it, now out for the Phantoms. Ferrara on the ice to try and complete the set. Over the blue line they come once more. Lackinen looking for an option. Finds Spears at the hash marks. Douglas blocked by Nihl in front. Nihl will try and battle its way through. Aaron Nihl can't get on the end of the puck there ahead of Duncan Spears. Brilliant job from the Phantoms forward.
Yeah, great work coming back there by the Phantoms, to of all the people you wouldn't want to give such a chance to as well.
Huff gives that one up to Bebris. Lackinen does well to get it away from him. Ferrara drops it off to the flying Finn. Tries to find Douglas back door. Off the boards. 30 seconds left on the Malasinski minor. Ferrara helps it along the way. Back to the blue line. Half. Phantoms fans calling for the shot, as all hockey fans do. Half at the top of the facial circle. Across goal at the front. Blocked again. Sacrificing the body as Huff. Another one comes in, blocked again by the Wildcats. And Chris Jones with 2 big blocks will skate to the bench as Malasinski rejoins the game. Cats 2 for 2 on the kill. Ferrara over the line, that one fired off the plexi. That one allowed to roll through behind the goal. Bullis. Over to Malasinski, away from one brilliant tight job from Tom Norton. Doesn't let the pole get away.
Superb from Tom Norton in the moment there, but the Cats are coming again, and you can feel that their confidence is starting to grow.
Bricknell for the wraparound to the front of the net. Chance! Levine with the pad down. Makes the save. Antonov keeps it in the zone. Takes a massive hit behind the play. Bullis finds Wells. There's a penalty coming on the Phantoms here for that hit on Antonov, and it'll come now. 2 for boarding, I imagine 47-48. The Cats get their first power play of the weekend. I believe Joe Gretton. Couldn't quite see the jersey number from where we are.
No, I thought it was. I just
saw
it was Jasper
5.
Foster.
I saw a 5 at the back end. Sorry, Joe.
As Hayden Levine there, just taking a timely adjustment of his equipment. But yeah, if the Malasinski one is going to be called, you definitely need to call that one as well. I did wonder whether they were going to call Levine, because Levine threw his glove out at an on-rushing Cats forward. But you have to feel this is massive for Swindon.
Foster, 2 for boarding is the call. Cats on a man advantage as it goes back to Nihl running the point. Nihl, Swindon, 66 power play goals in the year, 34.20 success rate. Glenn Billing, who is patrolling down below the goal line. The top scorer as that one's fired in from Bricknell. Phantoms penalty kill gave up 49 on the year, 73.51 success rates. This power play unit for the Cats is power packed as Bricknell barrels his way up the far side wall. Looks for an option, finds Nihl. Malasinski tries to draw Robson over. Nihl. Back to Jones. That one off the heel of the blade. And trickle down back to Malasinski again. Bricknell. Down low to Billing. He's done a very good job just ghosting in at the last second and scoring these chances. Malasinski. Bricknell chance. That one's fired high. And that one off the netting. It will stay inside the zone. 104 left on the Foster minor.
Yeah, unfortunately for Jake Bricknell, he got the contact, but it was always rising, unfortunately for him. Just not to be. As you say, this is a power-packed first power play unit for the Wildcats. And you think as well, with some of the names that they can bring off the bench, Antonov, Bedbris, Wells, it's even the second unit would be good enough to be most teams' first units here.
This top unit responsible for 49 goals of the 66 as Bricknell forces another save out of Levine. And that one will be cleared out of the zone. Good work from Jarvis Hunt once again. 11 minutes remaining in the third here in Coventry. Semi-final 1, building to a crescendo as Bricknell fires one on Levine. Kick save by the netminder. Wells, forced back by Spears. Wells, leader of the second unit. Back to Bradley. Wells. Ryan Wells there with an uncharacteristic mistake as Ma is way out of his net to play the puck, and Jarvis Hunt almost terrifies the Cats fans.
When goalies come out of their net, we promise they know what they're doing.
Cosdy, in by Bouglas. Foster out the box, Phantoms return to full strength. Cosdy finds Sayers, drops it off for Wells towards goal, blocked. Phantoms survive again, that one's a high stick there by Ed Bradley, it catches Jasper Foster high, and the Phantoms will get another go on the power play, delayed call coming.
And Levine hasn't realised.
Levine hasn't realised and still hasn't realised as it's finally played ahead. Well, maybe it's a case of realisation or just realised he wouldn't make it in time. 2 is signalled for the high stick, the referee has gone to check on Jasper Foster. So it's 2 for high sticking on Ed Bradley, 50-09.
Well, 10 minutes left to play. Well, sorry, just under 10 minutes left to play in this one. And we did wonder whether there'd be a few sort of life tax penalties, but actually the refs have been calling the things that kind of need to be called. You can't not call that sort of a high stick, as now Rennie Mars having a logistical adjustment of his equipment at just the right moment. No, it's been a very solid looking Cats penalty kill so far. Ultimately, they need to be able to recreate that slightly augmented unit out there to to start for the Phantoms.
Yeah, Jarvis Hunt taking the draw. And that one almost blindsides Rennie Marr.
Yeah, following Will Weldon's retirement, both Jasper Foster and Jarvis Hunt both been sort of trained up a little bit in face-offs.
I say, in terms of Jarvis Hunt, he's been very good at them all year in times I've seen him
yes,
as well.
Yes, this is very true.
Douglas. Drops it off for Lackinen. Draws Nihl wide. Space for Douglas. Cycle across. Shot blocked by Malasinski. Rebound, second chance. Marr went for the save. I think it was blocked by Plews, actually.
He's tried to anticipate what was happening there and ended up having to sort of barrel roll himself back into position. And Plews is someone's without a stick on the ice at the moment.
I believe it was Malasinski. He's made it to the bench. Lackinen towards the front of the net. Bobbling puck. Still loose. Lackinen. Wraparound attempt. Blocked off. Nihl able to clear.
A dangerous moment there as everybody was sort of spinning on a sixpence, but it just fell kindly for the Cats coach to put it the distance to allow a few bodies to change.
Phantoms start the rush once again. Thrown cross ice. Ferrara brings that down brilliantly, I must admit. Norton shot deflected wide by Billing. Cats clear once more. Levine out of his net to play. 45 seconds left on the Bradley Niner.
Just good patient stuff here from the Cats. In the moment they really, really cannot afford to panic, but it's that trust in that penalty kill unit that's done so well for them so far this game.
Phantoms at speed into the zone. Dropped off to Spears. Below the goal line goes to Bowering. Bowering, fans on the shot. Cats clear, only tries Spears in the centre ice. 10 seconds left before Bradley rejoins the game. Mitchell King, forced back by Billing. Norton moves it along to Bowering. They'll do it for the man advantage. Mitchell King, brilliant little duck under the hit from Godfrey. Cycled around, Malasinski able to get that under control. Bowering winds up, fires, that one blocked in front. Salem. That one's gone through! Nathan Salem has arguably been the best player on the ice so far today. And he turns at the face-off dot and fires past Marr. The Phantoms lead 52-24.
They'd had that bit of pressure on the power play and just hadn't really massively been effective. And ultimately, Ryan Wells has skated in front of the eyes of Rennie Marr. Nathan Salem has turned on the sixpence and found the top of the net again.
And now you're playing the most dangerous game. A Phantoms 1-goal lead and 7.5 to go. We've all seen this movie before.
Ultimately, though, we talked about it before. Swindon have to perform, and they have to perform now.
What have the Cats got? Nihl chases it in, taken away by Thorpe. Debris fired cross ice. Pekosdi tries to drop it off. No one there in red shirt. Collected by the man off the blue line. And that one, another poor pass. Salem from Mitchell King is the Phantoms' third goal, as that one will be called icing.
Yeah, that pass has come flying across the zone there, and I think Pekosdi was cutting to the middle, expecting it to be a little bit softer, and unfortunately it was fired at such speed, it beat him to the boards before he could get anywhere close to where he thought it was going to come. But ultimately, Phantoms have iced it, and we will see what the Cats can craft out of this chance with Bricknell and Wells on the ice.
Billing wins the draw, puck back to Bricknell, immediately tied up by two white shirts. Shot towards goal, Billing in front, can't get it under control, gets it taken away by Norton once more. Puck flipped high, almost off the scoreboard, Wells back there to collect. Up the far side, tries to find Billing, taken away by Robson. Foot race to it, Wells can't beat Gretton. Foster plays into the corner, Wells will get there easily on this occasion. Bradley moving it along, Bricknell running into traffic. Bricknell, two white shirts to try and go through, they just wall up and keep them out. Foster, space up this near side, draws Wells over. That one blocked off the shins of Wells. Jones fans on the pass. Hunt almost takes it away. Cats again, over the blue line they come. Bricknell, chance, save, Levine, and clears it himself. Foster will just throw it on ahead as the Phantoms go for a change.
Yes, some interesting expectations there from the Phantoms fans as to what Foster was going to do 1-on-3 with a goal up, but it's all these little things, and great right there by Levine, able to clear his own lines.
Tipped ahead into the corner, foot race, won by Venskatonis. Off the boards to McKenzie. Sari. Over the line, shot towards goal, blocked by Godfrey. Time ticks down on semi-final one. Bebris. Finds his way to Antonov. 1v4 on this occasion. Now it's 1v5. And it's brilliantly cleared by the men in white. Hartman on that occasion as it's fired in again. Spears. Brings it around the boards. Godfrey will get there first. Tip towards goal. Malasinski bobbles over his stick and nails.
A massive chance there for Swindon, and it just didn't fall for them with Malazinski at the top of the crease and Nell at the post, but the Cats still trying to keep the pressure on.
Godfrey keeps it in the corner. Malasinski turns, fires towards net. That one's off a stick in front. Panthers will try and clear it. That one is an absolute skyscraper of a clearance. Salem very offside. Cats the other way. Pekosdi trying to find Nell, tied up, can't get there. Malasinski towards goal. That one takes a wicked bounce off Levine. And the Phantoms clear again. This one is not offside at the other end. The Phantoms have a chance. Big save, Rennie Marr. Duncan Spears, the man robbed.
Well, I'm slightly bemused how Hayden Levine has not been called for tripping Aaron Nell there, but the Phantoms came screaming up the other end and a huge save.
Malasinski to the front of the net. That one will draw a save from Levine. Pekosdi is bundled into the net, and this will draw a crowd once more.
Yep, some aggressive cuddles all forward there, but I mean the Phantoms can complain about that one, but they've put Pekosdi into the netminder. If you don't want your netminder to if you don't want someone to make contact with your netminder, don't put the opposition forward into your netminder.
4:10 remaining in the third, and Tom Norton is calling for the Phantoms fans to get loud. Here's that chance to Duncan Spears.
Massive save from Rennie Marr at a moment where it mattered the most. That could be huge if Swindon can craft something, though, of course, with time ticking down, Swindon have used their timeout in the first period.
Well, I am actually just going to check this because the clock at centre ice for us is saying that the Phantoms used theirs. But it's very much showing on the game sheet that it was the Wildcats. So the Wildcats have definitely used it, regardless of what we can see in front of us. You can't see it at home, obviously, but just worth clarifying for our own sanity, if anything.
Just as Hayden Levine there clarifying that his posts are definitely on their moorings and his helmet is definitely attached in the way that he needs it to as the face-off comes off outside after that earnest discussion between the two sides.
Blown dead as Ferrara and Jones guilty of encroaching in on the drop. The Phantoms win the draw. Are they going to go to the dance one more time? Lackinen will throw it ahead. Bebris there. Phantoms quite happy to just sit and fill lanes now as Ferrara able to take the puck away from the Latvian. Huff beats Blues to it, but it's quickly brought away by Billing. Bricknell into the zone, pinned by Robson, and that loses the puck for the Wildcats. Phantoms into the zone once more. Huff tied up as he goes to the net, forced behind the goal. And Ferrara's quite happy to pin that one against the boards and let the seconds tick down. Brought clear. Bebris. Cross ice. Deflection almost paid off for the Cats. Ferrara able to throw it ahead as both teams get changes in.
Too early, obviously, to be doing it, but the question has to come in mind. Rennie Marr's already motioning to the bench.
Aaron Nell is very aggressive with his pulls as well. If he goes, it will be early, I reckon, as it's thrown towards goal. Levine takes two goes to cover it up. Malasinski well within his right to go digging.
And
Joe Gretton
And this is where the Phantoms are going to do these kind of things. They'll tie these bits and pieces up. Like you say, Malazinski, he's got the right to go for that. But this about setting them off. Apologies.
That's okay. 2:56 remaining in third. Mar very much still in the net for now.
You have to think clean face-off win back here for Aaron Nihl. This shot's going on net.
Got to win the draw, and once again it's tied up. Salem again. Brilliantly well to get away from all three of the Cats forwards. Nathan Salem as Nihl takes a tumble into the zone himself. Salem lovely toe drag to get around Wells. Backhanded towards goal. Mar has to make the save.
Massive from Nathan Salem, as you said. He has been absolutely superb this afternoon.
Wells, chip and chase it himself. Gets there first. Malasinski. Dropped off, shot blocked by a Wildcat in front and cleared out the zone.
Through the legs of Aaron Nihl at just the crucial moment.
Bradley will just fire it in. That will roll through to Tom Norton. Gets hammered as he makes the play. Hunt loses out on the puck. Wells. Move to Pecosdi. Cuts inside one. Tries to find Billing. Miscommunication there as a pair cross the blue line. So into the final 2 minutes of the third. Norton can't keep that one in the zone. Or just about does. Jones. Fired cross ice again. Thrown opposite corner. Mars still gesturing to the benches. Beveridge blast on from the blue line. Pushed away by Levine. Bradley to the front of the net off the side of the cage. That one high up into the netting. 1:40 remains. And Aaron Nihl has told Rennie Mar, get to the bench.
Well, if you're going to roll the dice, you've got to roll the dice now. With no timeout to do much in the way of planning, Swindon have pulled the trigger. They have pulled Rennie Mar, and all the big names are on the ice now for the Wildcats.
All the big names are on the ice for both teams. The Phantoms respond with their own top unit. Huff and Nihl has been a face-off battle all night, and it is one that the Cats man has not won. In actual fact, I think they've gone with Chris Jones on this occasion.
They have gone with Chris Jones, and he's won it back.
Malasinski tied up. Nihl can't find Wells. Cleared. Now's the chance. Brilliant block. Jake Bricknell prevents the empty net chance. 90 seconds. Can the Phantoms survive? The Cats throw everything ahead. Bricknell stopped at the blue line. Huff just clears the zone.
Of course, the Phantoms not on the penalty kill. They need to be careful, huffing, like chucking it down the ice, because they'll get called for icing.
Malasinski may have just iced the puck. The Cats are furious as Billing gets there first.
I think Billing has gotten there first. He's beaten the Phantoms man down low there, and that's been called. I think this should be going back to centre ice for my money.
It's going all the way back, so Rennie Mar has to go all the way back to the goal. 1:10 remains in the third.
Well, this is why you and I are not officials. They're the ones who get to make the calls. So as you say, Mar now coming back in with 70 seconds to play. Massive, massive face-off win.
Cats win the draw. Mar will be sprinting to the bench as soon as this crosses the centre ice line. Bricknell to Wells. Off goes the Scot. Dump and chase. Wells can't get there ahead of Bouglas. Salem is there as well. 50 seconds remain. Battle in the corner.
Just a sea of red shirts in the corner trying to dig it out.
Bricknell. Across to the front of the net. Saved by Levine. Collected in front by Spears. Not cleared. Bricknell through traffic. Levine off the glove and cleared out the zone. 27 left on the clock. Cats again. Pecosdi turns to the blue line. Finds Bricknell. Bricknell fired wide. Rebound chance. Levine makes the save. I don't know how much he knew about it. Malasinski drops off again. Shot blocked. Norton collects. 10 seconds. It's a knock loose. Malasinski has to take the shot. Doesn't. Back again. And it's Salem's lot as the Phantoms take the semi-final. Nathan Salem completes the hat-trick with the empty netter from the blue line. And the playoff champs are champs for a reason. They will go again tomorrow afternoon.
Well, the Swindon Wildcats deserve a massive amount of credit for digging themselves out of a hole to be in it at the death, but it has been Nathan Salem's day. What a performance. And you can't, I mean, Nathan Salem looks absolutely exhausted and you cannot blame him, but what a big game from, you know, we talk about Huff, we talk about Lacken and we talk about Ferrara, but this is the weekend where those people who need to step up, and you can only imagine what will come tomorrow. You have to feel for Swindon. It was torrid for the first part, for the first majority of the first period, in fact, but Swindon pulled themselves back in. They have that quality where they pulled themselves back into it.
Nathan Salem, as they go through the handshake lines, is getting hugged off every single one of his teammates there. They know how big of a game he's just put in for them. And the Phantoms, we wondered how they would approach this third period. They went back to type. They went aggressive forecheck. They played the man high. And they just waited. You said it. Patient. They will find a way. And in the end, Nathan Salem turns and fires from the face-off dart. And it's ball game.
As you know, I've said it a lot on commentary in various bits and pieces. You've said it a lot this year as well. The champs are champs for a reason. They know how to operate in these moments.
We are waiting for the fourth goal, but we believe it's just going to go down as Nathan Salem unassisted on the empty net to complete the hat-trick. 59-59 the time of the goal.
I mean, that would be chiselling of the highest order for anybody to try getting an assist on that one.
They're hockey players. Someone will try.
Of course they will try, and they are well within their rights to. Tony Hand. We'll give it to Tony Hand, shall we? That's the tradition.
How did the song go? He shot, he missed, he wanted the assist.
But again, we talked about the Cats performing in the moment, and again, just that one little bit as well, and Ryan Wells, like I said, just skating across the line of sight of Rennie Marr, and Nathan Salem finding the top corner, and at the end of another season where the Swindon Wildcats are left to scratch their heads. A fantastic performance. Like I said, they came back from having been very poor at the beginning of the first period, and you can credit them for the resiliency, you can credit them with not giving up the fight. But the Peterborough Phantoms do what the Peterborough Phantoms do best. And ultimately, if Nathan Salem doesn't get man of the match in this game...
Yes, we're calling the local police.
Yes, absolutely. Irrespective of whether he gets the man of the match or not, obviously, they will be focusing on tomorrow, but somebody needs to get that man a beer. What a performance by Nathan Salem.
The Phantoms fans away to our left are loud, as you can imagine.
And ultimately for Peterborough now, you either get the rematch of last year or you get the Ashes tomorrow.
It's one of the things, do you want to do it again against the Leeds, or do you want to try and put one over your rival in the biggest game possible?
I think if you're Peterborough at this precise moment, they will calmly sit back. Our viewers at home will go, put the kettle on, have a break, and calm down.
Jake Bricknell receives the man of the match for the Wildcats this afternoon. A very physical presence, drives the play a lot. Not the best game for him, I would say. The Cats are very hard to pick a man of the match, but I almost would give it to someone like Ryan Wells. Wells is a lot more attacking, a lot more intent to his rushes up the ice.
I have no idea how Luke Johnson's not got man of the match.
Luke Johnson today.
Yeah. I think that is possibly the best game I've seen Luke Johnson play, and I can understand why they've given it to Bricknell, like you say, a big physical presence. But ultimately, in some ways, there was almost too much space. Bricknell, coming from that North American style, almost benefits from being in the smaller rinks in some ways, because he's much more used to kind of the crash and bang, which is harder to do here at Coventry, given the size of the ice pad. Either way, a brave performance. They brought themselves back from the dead, but it wasn't enough at the end.
They will skate off of their season done. They will have another chance next season, and in the least surprising decision of the afternoon so far, Nathan Salem takes home the man of the match. Beers for the Peterborough Phantoms. I mean, got the scoring started, got the game-winning goal, finished it with the empty net. Brilliant at both ends of the ice. just a fantastic performance from forward.
I mean, you wouldn't want to necessarily put too much of a handle on anything, especially because we don't know what tomorrow brings. But potentially Peterborough fans are going to call this game the Salem semi-final.
Well, they will take a lap of honour around to the fans who are still here. They've all gone off for a bit of a break. As you remember, that's game 1. So the question now is, who meets Peterborough tomorrow afternoon? That's semi-final 1. If you've got your stream package sorted, then you've got game 2 coming soon. There's still plenty of time to buy your stream ahead of the second game. 5:30 face-off. Stream is 5 o'clock live. He says, hopefully looking at Ben. We're going to guess. Yep, he's ignoring me. 5? Yeah, there's a nod. We've got semi-final 2 coming up, and what a semi-final it is. League champions, cup champions versus the runner-up in the league. The Leeds Knights take on the MK Lightning for the right to face the Phantoms tomorrow. From me, from Anthony, we'll see you in about an hour and a half. Bye.